So let's start with the workshop. This workshop is going to be about backdrop creations. I'll be going through the Gaia process, like how you create the 3D meshes and also how you implement them, add them in your scene in Unreal, and also some backdrop fog cards. So let me introduce about myself. Currently, I work as a contract artist over at Takeover Studios. Previously, I worked as an environment artist at Technicolor Games and also at Sumo Digital, and also did a lot of freelance for Decora before that. So the question is, why is it backdrop important and what is it? Like, there's a general questions. Generally, backdrop is nothing as the name suggests. It's just an environment piece or environment part which generally is behind the main focus area. Like in my scene, the main focus is on this tower. So the background is just backdrop. And why is it important? Like you can create anything without the backdrop also. I could have gone without the backdrop. I could have uh, uh, add a lot of trees or anything behind that rather than adding a backdrop with a lot of mountains or horizon. Generally, it helps your scene to make it large, quite open, make your scene helps in your composition as well to focus in your focal area, whichever area you want to focus on. And here is a difference. Like here is a two images. Like what happens if you create a backdrop and what happens if you don't. I could have created, as I previously said, you could have completely place a lot of trees behind your main focus area. In my case, this tower, but that would have made the scene quite cluttered, quite small, uh, and also the composition doesn't work at all. Even if I scale the trees and make the curve to follow those house, it doesn't makes a good composition at all. So when I add those horizon terrain and mountains, snow mountain, it generally makes the scene look quite large, quite open. So if you want your scene to look quite large, or if you want to uh, make your audience feel that the scene is quite large, uh, I think adding a backdrop, quite a nice backdrop, will really help. And also, it will be quite easy to plan your composition if you add a backdrop rather than placing a lot of trees or anything behind your mountain or even a cliff. It will be quite difficult in that case. So, there any types of backdrop, or is it just one simple mesh? No. As far I have worked on, there are like I have worked on three different kind of backdrops. Generally, the one is the oldest one, like you create simple 2D mesh of your terrain. You stack them one by another, like the artist over here did in artist called Malik. This is the oldest way. It generally is the cheapest one for the engine as well, but it doesn't give that realism. It's for like 2D games. The second one is you can use same 2D card, including with the help of HDRI to give a lot uh, realistic look and feel. I have put a YouTube link over there. You can see what exactly it looks like if you use an HDRI as well as static mesh for your backdrop. And the third one and the last one that I worked on is using 3D mesh, like completely 3D, nothing, no fake at all, everything 3D. So that's the one that we are going to look at in this workshop. So what software are we going to use? It's like there are a lot of software called World Machine. You can use Houdini, you can use Blender as well. It's free, but we'll be using Gaia from Quartz-Spinel. The reason is the software is free, but not exactly completely free. It's limited to 1K resolution. What 1K resolution means, your mesh will be exported at a maximum resolution of 1K, and also your textures. The other reason for this software which I used is it's quite easy to learn. The UI is quite simple. Anyone can learn. It will hardly take like 1 or 2 days to uh, go through the UI and to know what exactly it does. And also you will be getting a lot of learning content on YouTube and other websites as well. So let's move to Gaea. Generally, when you start Gaea, this is the community version. So whatever I do over here, it's completely doable by you. You don't have to purchase this software. This one is the free version. So when you start your scene first time, it might look something like this. It's a simple mountain and with a widget, it looks something like this. Before I proceed to other things, let's give a quick rundown of the UI. You can change your resolution over from here. If you wish to go to 2K, you can do it. It will take some time, but your terrain will look quite nice. Since this is like community version, so it doesn't matter if you view at 2K or 1K, it will export at 1K maximum. So for this workshop, I'll stick with 1K. Also, you can change your lighting conditions if you wish to change how the directional light works over here. You can move here, you can click. It can give you those evening shots. So we will move to the default one. So I generally start with the same node, just like mountain. I start with this simple node, mountain. If you see something like this, it's just loading the scene. Yeah. If you don't like this shape from this mountain node, you can click this seed and change as many times you want. You will have endless number of shapes. But for this, I will stick to with this. And also in the beginning, when you add this mountain, you might feel your mountain looks quite not exactly right, like the elevation or the height of this mountain does not look quite like this. If I give another example, you might find over here. This one is quite tall. This one is completely weird. So yeah, when you turn by default, there is a setting which is turned off in this mountain node, which generally makes your height or elevation of this terrain look quite low. So in order to do that, you have to just turn on this bulky. If I turn off this bulky, you'll be able to see how low it looks. Yeah, I just turn on this and it looks quite large. You can do the same thing by increasing this height also, but I choose to use this bulky method because there is a weird thing that goes on if I just turn off this. Still does not look the way that I want. So I generally, for this terrain, I move it to 40% and I just turn on the bulky. Yeah. So over here, if you noticed, when I click bulky, it looks quite nice over here. Previously, it did not when I change the height to 100%. So after this, I generally move add slope blur on every uh, mountain or anything that I used initially. After that, I generally use slope blur to completely destroy the shapes which was there initially. It was quite sharp. It looked like a rock to me. So I generally add slope blur. Slope blur acts completely like in designer or painter. I just add this mountain node to both input and guide. Once you are happy, because when you apply slope blur, there is a lot of settings over here you can change. If I change it, your blur completely changes. It looks like sharp, like previous as it was previously. If I go too low, it looks something like this. Not much of difference. So you might have to play with some settings over here. to get your desired result. I'm happy with this, so I'll move with the other node. That's Stratify. Stratify is nothing but it will create a stepping effect on your terrain. I generally use this one on all my backdrop mountains. There's nothing, it's just the strength. Always make sure you use low strength. If you go too high, then it might look quite weird. Yeah, one more thing that I forgot to inform you, that is when you make any changes, you might not be able to see the change over here in certain nodes like this. So you always need to turn on this. It's like auto apply, which is turned off by default in Gaea. So make sure you turn on this, and now you'll be able to see. Uh, you might be, you might want something like this, or you can go with this also if you think you want something like this. In my case, I didn't want, so I'll use a very low strength. Once I'm happy with this, I'll just move to shatter. If I didn't use this stratify, so what happens is you'll get just a normal effect. But when I add stratify, make sure you look over here. You get more details, which might be not a big thing, but when you look from a distance, it will help. Once shatter is done, like I didn't do anything over here, I just played with the seed thing. So you can do the same. In fact, you can do some trick over here and see what works for you. Make sure to look at your terrain mesh from all sides. Sometimes it might not look good. So in that case, you can just click the seed and automatically let the system do its thing. I'm happy with this terrain. So I move to breaker. Breaker is nothing but it just breaks your landscape, creates those water path for the water to flow. If you look some landscape images from a height, you will generally get something like this, which are nothing but something created through water over the years, which water flows from your mountain to the plain areas. So it's something like that. I'm happy with the number of breaker I got over here. You might want more. So in that case, you can increase the durations. River length also changes how long you want. So I'm quite happy with this. So I'll add erosion. If you, yeah, erosion, as the name says, like it's just the destroying your landscape. Like over the period of time, it erodes and it forms something like this, which is really important if you want to go with you want to create terrain mesh. So erosion is quite important. In this also, I didn't do anything, to be honest. If you look at the colors of this, uh, it looks quite dull. That means you have not changed anything. The moment you change something over here, it will glow. So I'll stick with 4%. Nothing change when I change it to like something like this, 50% or 55% or this, nothing changed, because as I previously said, you need to turn on this one. Otherwise, there will be no difference. So make sure to look at this key kind of thing, which is auto apply thing. If you don't turn on, most probably your change is not happening. 4%, I'm happy with this. Once this is done, I will add just another satyr. It will destroy a little bit more. It will create those noisy effect on your terrain. And last, I generally use wizard. It might not do a lot of thing over here in this particular resolution at 1K. When you look at 2K, there are a lot of things that happening. You will as I can see over here, it creates a small channel of for waters. Yeah, till here, this part is completely for mesh generation. Once you are happy with this, you can use the same node to create multiple terrain. Like if you go to initial one, before that, make sure you just right click the wizard, uh, pin it. Once you pin it, so if you go to any other node, nothing changes, like nothing happens over here. It will it will show you this particular node all the time. I generally go to mountain and I just click seed and it will automatically generate um, multiple variations of this term. If you like something like this, you can use this one. If you don't like, you can again click seed and it will constantly give you unlimited terrains, like whatever you feel, whichever you want. Yeah, so I'll stick with the original one. Before I move to how to export, I will show you how I texture it in Gaea. You might be asking a question to yourself like, why texture it in Gaea? Why not do um, automatic landscape texture in Unreal, or do the texture in other software? I prefer Gaea because it's quite simple. Like as you can see, there are only few nodes which will give me the desired result for this texture output. Um, you can do other things as well, like you can automatic landscape material. You can create automatic landscape material in Unreal. But since this is a backdrop mountain, we do not want to test the memory a lot. I want it to be quite cheap, quite efficient. And since you will be um, adding a lot of trees or rocks over here manually, so most of the time you won't be able to see any details. So I generally, for this project, I prefer to go with texturing Gaea. So at first, what I do is I just add this texture. This texture node is quite common, like throughout this. Yeah, I just need to turn off this pin, otherwise it will not display. Okay, I just pin as underlay. Yeah, now you might think this looks awesome. This is the texture, but exactly to be honest, this is not the texture. This is just representation, to be honest. It acts as a mask. In the next node is what texture is mostly. I use sat maps, and over here you can see a lot of color palette. I enjoyed this one. You might enjoy something like this, like bedrock kind of thing, sandy. You might create sand dunes with this as well. You have almost unlimited color palette over here. Yeah, if you think this is not enough, you can click this rocky area and you can go to sand and you will have like endless Martian, green, blue, legacy, whatever you feel like. For this, I would stick with this one, rocky 417. This is nothing but the rock texture. You might think this looks weird. Wait a minute. In the next one, it will look quite different. Uh, I add another texture node. I just click this seed to get different result. Then I just add chat maps. This is just for the green grass effect. You can do whatever you feel like, select. Uh, I will just combine it with a blending node called slope. If you see this, uh, this slope acts as a mask, nothing else, it's just a mask kind of thing, which will help to combine this to texture into something like this. I want my rocks to be visible only over here, not in other places. So I use this slope. So wherever there is a black color thing, you will be able to see this rock texture. So it looks something like this right now. Make sure you look from all the angles. Even if you want, you can just change the lighting directions and see if this works or not. If this works, now let's move to another one. That is curvature. I just combine this one with the same curvature texture. Like if you click this, there is a curvature texture. It will be visible only on the rocky area. I want this kind of shiny kind of thing on my rocks. I do not want my rocks to be completely dull. Even though this is not that visible, I added a little bit of details to the texture, not make it quite bland. So when I combine it, just a small thing. And after that, we use a node called protrusion. If I click this, it looks quite similar to you. It looks like a curvature map. But exactly, this is not a curvature map. There is a curvature map and another curvature node. If I click this is what curvature is over here. I use this protrusion to create a set maps of something like this, to have this kind of color on my green grass. As you can see over here, this one looks quite green, just green, nothing else. So when I add this color sat maps, combine it with the help of this curvature, you get something like this, which is green but also have a slight yellow effect. Yeah. So this is what the process is uh, for me to create backdrop mountains. This is all like very small, very simple, just few nodes for the mesh and few nodes for the texture. You don't have to make it too complicated because no one is going to see. You won't be able to travel that area if so. Make it like very small, quite easy, and also you can export this. Let me show you how to exactly export it. Before that, there is one more mountain that I want to show you, which is the snow mountain that I created. For that also, the process is quite simple. The same thing, create mountain. Over here, you might be seeing there is a node called mask. Why I used that? Because if you notice, this looks quite unnatural to me. I do not want this. So I use this mask to remove it. Mask is nothing but you will be just um, painting over here. You just select the size, strength, and you paint. And also make sure you tweak the power. It will help to manually change it. You could, I could have done this in ZBrush after I export the mesh, but that will completely destroy the shape of this mountain also. So I didn't prefer to do it in ZBrush at the later stage. I prefer to do it in the quite early stage. I just turn off this 2D method. Yeah, if you want to have a look at 2D, how exactly it looks, you can just turn on over here. Once you are satisfied with the shape, as I am right now, I just move the same thing. If you see, stratify, just after combine, shatter, breaker for those beautiful breaks on your terrain for the water to flow. Then erosion, the same thing, to erode your landscape. And after this, I added a small node called micro erosion is just nothing, it's erosion effect, but at a smaller level. Like if you look closely, if I turn on this, you see there's a lot of small micro erosions happening over here. So if you look at a distance, you might be able to see a little bit of details. Since you are limited to 1K resolution, try to add a little bit of details so that it is visible in the frame. Last, the same thing, visit. And I added a node called sharpen to make it look a little bit more sharp. Now it is like done. That mountain is done, but where is the snow? So there is a node called Snowfall, which you can use. There are a lot of settings over here. As duration says, if you increase the duration, it will increase the amount of snow on your landscape. Like if you see, it flows. I will move to my previous, which was my. If you see the snow, I was not satisfied with the snow, to be honest, in the beginning. So the problem over here is I wanted my snow to be visible over here as well, a little bit more. So even a lot of tweaking this setting, I couldn't get what I exactly wanted. So I added another node, same node, Snowfall. It's just the snow is on the top side. So I will just combine it. It's nothing like I just select this quick color. Quick color is nothing as a simple node to add just simple two color variations. As you can see over here, color one, color two. Color two does not do anything. In this case, it's completely black. Color one is the snow color. Little bit of bluish tint. Same thing for this one as well. And I just combine them, nothing else. If you see, I just combine them, nothing else. Simple thing. And for texture of your terrain, the same thing, like texture, sat maps, over and over the same thing. No nothing complicated. You don't have to make it too complicated. The same texturing. I used almost the same nodes for this. There's not much of a difference. Might be I have reduced the number of sat maps I used. In some cases, I will increase it, but I do not add any more nodes to this for texture. Just a simple nodes, sat maps, color, combine, color, combine. Sat maps is nothing but color, combine, color, combine. And at the end, in my case, my terrain snow mountain look something like this. And on top of it, I just added this snow effect. That's it. Yeah, snow mountain is done. So now how do you export it? Like you have created a great looking terrain or snow mountain. So there are you have to export in two ways. One is you have to export your mesh, your terrain or your snow mountain, which can be done by a node called measure. You just right click, you type measure, you will get this node. There's not much of a thing to do over here. It's just the number of try count you wanted, nothing else. No matter if I put like 3966 or even if I just ramp it up to 8K, it doesn't matter. Your maximum export resolution will be 1K because this is the community or the free version. So for this distant mountain, you don't need more than 1K. I can assure you that. So if you are working on your personal piece, which has a distant mountain, which your player is not going to uh, move to that particular mountain terrain, you don't have to purchase anything. You just use this simple free version. Absolutely fine. Move to 1K. You can select your format OBJ FBX. If you select FBX, there is a small plugin which will automatically start downloading. If you click FBX, I generally use OBJ. Not much of a difference. Make sure your texture pods is enabled. Otherwise, your UV might be completely messed up since you have already done texturing over here. So you want to use this texture in Unreal. So make sure you have texture coordinates turned on. Now, once this is done, you don't have to do anything. You just move to build. There is a node all. There will be a node called measure. If you have multiple node like measure, if in my case I have measure over here, if you have another measure over here to export this mesh as well, so make sure you rename it. You can rename it mesh 01. Build, normal build. You don't have to speed tile. This things works much better if you have like the professional version or the enterprise version of the Gaia. In this case, it's just normal build is absolutely fine. Resolution 1K. Doesn't matter. If you even click 2K, it will export at 1K. You just click start build. You put your location where you want your mesh to be exported. Click start build and it will automatically start building. I'm not doing this since I already have it. If I share it, yeah, I've already exported in MPX previously. Uh, so now let's move to the slide. Like, yeah, till now, I have gone through the terrain creations and the snow mountain creation in Gaia. So, say you might want to know what exactly to do after this, like after you have created successfully your terrain or mountain, whatever you want. So, how do you apply it in your environment? Place it in level. How do you even blend it? Like most of the time, the sky and the terrain does not blend quite well. Something looks off. So, let's start with that part. Before that, I'll show you how exactly to export it. I am using Blender for this so that you can use same software since it's free. Once you import that FBX file, which I showed you just a few seconds ago, it will look something like this over here. Uh, the reason why I import in Blender or Maya is to remove unnecessary space over here. It's not to optimize it, it's just to, it looks quite weird, that flat plane over here. Sometimes it might be clipping in your another terrain. If you place another terrain over here, it might interfere. So I generally go to like face mode, lasso tool for this. In this case, I just select randomly. You just select this corner areas which you do not want and delete it, all the face. Yeah, done. If you want, you can remove it. For this, I'm not doing it. Once you are done with this, please do not export this thing as it is right now. Make sure you smooth it, um, since we'll be using nanite over there. So this um, flat shade method will not work quite nicely with nanite. Once you smooth it, you want your terrain mesh to look something like this, completely smooth, flat. Once you are done, export it. When you export it, I've already done that one as well, demo engine. So let's move to the engine. Yeah, so the import process is just quite simple. You just import it over here. You make sure you enable nanite because you will be using a lot of terrain mesh. So, yeah, I just import it. I've already exported those textures and created this basic material. If you look at the master material, it's just the basic stuff, nothing much. Just like albedo, simple albedo tint, saturations, that's it. I thought to use this normal map, but I didn't use it. So you don't need that simple thing. And for roughness and specular maps, I use this same diffuse channel to get those roughness value, nothing else. Simple. So when you look at your terrain, it will look something like this. And I just apply it. Yeah, you're done. You're done with your first or your awesome looking terrain. So there is a process that I follow for uh, how to place your landscape on your level. Like I don't randomly place it. There is a specific process that I will show you in this slide. Like the next slide is, I generally follow this pyramid thing. Like I follow, at first I'll just place the terrain mesh on my levels. I'll generally focus on the depth, how it looks like from a fixed camera angle. Then I'll just scatter all my foliages or rocks, whatever I want. Then I will use those simple highlight, exponential height fog, directional light uh, to blend those terrain with the sky so that it does not look quite weird or out of the place. And at last, I will use the fog color. I generally follow this pattern. I do not do like I place this and do the skylight thing. I don't do that. I generally follow this one. It's like quite simple, just simple pyramid thing, step by step. So in my case, what I generally do for landscape place is I use the zigzag method. Like zigzag by zigzag means I mean something like this. I do not place like terrain side by side like a stack method or parallel method. I generally follow the zig. So that generally it helps to create those depth effect. Like if you place your levels at a zigzag method so that this terrain looks quite closer compared to this one, since I have placed this a little bit further, like in Z format or zigzag format. That's one thing. And yeah, and the next thing to blend it, first of all, let me tell you this uh, lighting setup is done with the help of a plugin called Ultra Dynamic Sky. You don't have to purchase that plugin at all. I did this for a specific reason, that is to get this volumetric clouds. I really wanted to use volumetric clouds in this end. That is the main reason. So you don't have to. I have already done a lighting for another lighting setup, which is like the basic one. So yeah, it looks something like this. If you use your like existing method of like skylight, um, sky sphere, simple method, then you will be getting something like this. It looks quite similar. The only thing that's missing from this lighting setup is the volumetric. As I told that I wanted volumetric clouds, that's why I used this ultra dynamic style, nothing else. So how do I light this scene generally? Like I at first let me turn off all of this and also those fog. I generally turn on at first I do like skylight. I'm happy with the the directional light. I'm really happy with this direction. The next thing I instantly do is post process to control my exposures. Then I simply add my uh, sky atmosphere to get the sky, simple. Then I used my sky dome to get those um, HDRI. With the help of HDRI, this is nothing but just a simple HDRI image. Once that's done, I click skylight to get those GI effect. Once that is done, I'll add those exponential height fog. I generally, I'll let you know like the next thing. And why I added this rectangular light, it's if you notice over here, it looks quite dark, and this looks the eye does not focus over here. So in order to make that mountain focus, I added a light. It feels like the sun is hitting, but just with the help of this rectangular light, nothing else. A fake kind of thing. Yeah. Uh, Now you might be thinking this looks odd, something is missing. Yeah, and that is the fog part. The last thing that I said, like I'll be adding this one. Without the help of this, your scene might look a little bit off. So make sure you utilize your focus or cloud, whatever you call it, to the maximum. Like if like yeah, it helps to create those blending effect over here. If you see without the fog card, with the fog card. And for the fog card, I used like to save my time, a lot of time. I used William Foss's fog card. In your case, you don't have to use it. I have already created another material for this workshop where I'll show you how exactly to create similar fog cards. Like the shader is this simple. You can download any Cloud Alpha. If you type on Google Cloud Alpha, you'll be getting a lot of textures. You don't have to have a high resolution texture. If the texture is like 512, it's enough. I add a simple diffuse intensity to control the diffuse texture. Add simple base node, simple thing. For emission, emissiveness, I added a emissive node, simple. Yeah, for this one, you need to make sure you use translucent and two-sided. Simple as you can see. If you so this is quite simple. The only thing that is quite important in this cloud or fog card is this depth fed. Make sure you use this depth fed for your opacity. It will help a lot. I'll show you what exactly it does. Like, uh, yeah, you can have a look if you want. No, absolutely not. So after this, I created a blueprint. If you look at this is a similar fog card. Now, why create a blueprint? Um, it is the easiest method. That's it, nothing else. Yeah, in the blueprint, I have exposed a few parameters from that master material that I showed you just right now. I wanted to expose this parameter over here in blueprint because I want to manually tweak each and every fog card. I do not want, if I would have never exposed this thing, this parameters over here, what would happen is if I create two fog card like this side by side, I would have never be able to manually change the setting for each fog cards. For instance, think like you want the opacity to be quite low in this fog card. So how do you do that? If you change the material instance of this, like if I decrease this opacity, like for now, if I take it to another window, if I change the intensity to 0.5, everything changes. Everything, all the fog card simultaneously changes one by one. So how do I change? Like by exposing it through the help of blueprint. Like over here, I can manually tweak it. Like if I want opacity to go down for this one specific one, yeah, I can. If I want emissive to be high, I can. For individual fog plane you will be having your freedom. That can be done with the help of this blueprint. And how do you do that? Like the first thing I did is just add a plane for this uh, fork card. Add your master material over here. Simple. Move to construction. Over here, I just click and drag this plane, nothing else. The first thing I generally create for this one is create dynamic material instance. I plug this target and this construction script, nothing else. This one will help in one thing that I'll show you. If you okay, if you go over here, you can see I have a cloud alpha, which is a texture node. If you variable texture type, if you see others, these are like float variable. So if you want to have you want to change the texture on blueprint, this one, you need to have a texture variable, which you cannot be able to do without the help of this dynamic material instance. So at first I use this one, then I simply use this texture parameter, like right click, turn off this one, you type texture parameter, like whichever you want, you can just search over here, texture, set texture parameter value. This one simple, I connect it, nothing else, quite simple. Simple thing, like I just the next, how do I get this node? This uh, parameter is just right click over here and let me just copy this one, and you will be able to know. I just right click and promote to variable, nothing else. Simple. Make sure you rename this parameter correctly. This parameter name, and the name should be coming from this master material. Like whatever you type over here, make sure you copy everything. If you don't do it, it will not work. It will show in your blueprint, but it won't work. So make sure you rename this parameter name correctly on everything. Like over here, I have diffuse intensity, emissive, opacity. You have to do this one. Parameter name has to be correct. And for this, if you see, this one connects only to over here material dynamic instance. After that, you have to individually connect on each and every one, because there is no return variable over here in texture value. So in my case, I just plug this plain mesh, like it's the target thing, nothing else. Quite simple. I will drop a screenshot of this, like if you want to create this, quite simple. Or in case I will provide you this uh, blueprint as well. We don't have to create. Once this one is done, make sure always that you turn on this. Like most of the time, what happens is, if when you add this node over here, blueprint node, these are like turn off, like this I. If this is turn off, then you won't be able to see over here. This will not be visible. So make sure you turn this on. This is something I don't need. Is you just compile and save. If that's done, yeah, you will have your opacity. Now you might be thinking that this looks quite off. Like if you see it's clipping over here with your landscape, and this looks quite weird for a fog. You do not want it. And how do you change that? If you remember, I told you make sure you add this depth fade node on your master material, and that's what going to help us now. Cancel it. If I go to this one, I want, wait, let me move it away. There is a node called fade opacity. This is the one that's going to save you from this clipping effect. If I change it to something like 50, you can already see going away. What happens if I go to 80 more? What happens if I decrease fade opacity a little bit? It looks like this. Slowly, it's um, uh, starting to be a part of this environment rather than by default, it was looking quite off. It does not look a part of this environment. So when I just increase it, it looks like uh, real fog. So in my case, I might have to go like 150 or even more. Like if you want, you can even play with opacity. Now it's starting to look like a real fog. This one looks quite off. Let me remove it. There is one. Yeah. I'm happy with this. Like you can play with emissive to bring those white color effect and also lower a little bit of opacity, nothing else. Once this done, you can just copy it. You can rotate it, place it wherever you want. Like even if you want on the floor, just on the floor, those magical fantasy kind of floors, you can do it. I'll provide you this blueprint. Yeah, it works. It's very simple as if to work. Yeah, so uh, let me just turn on the original one. So this is what it looks with the plugins and all sorts of extra uh, plugins like fog cloud, fog cards. And this is what it looks like. Just this is what relight I created within like one day. So if you put more time to this, like to polish it, to match it with a real life reference, you can get much better than this. I assure you that. So you do not have to plug in, make sure you do not have to plug in this um, extra things to bring something like this kind of environment. Unless you really need a volumetric clouds, you do not have to purchase. As you can see, the lighting looks quite similar. Obviously, the volumetric cloud is not over here, so it looks a little bit different. But without the volumetric clouds, if you see, the lighting setup doesn't look quite off. So uh, this is all for this workshop, to be honest. For this backdrop creations, I really hope you create some awesome terrain and mountains for your environment. I'm like really looking forward to see what you create from these workshops, and I absolutely believe you will do much better than what I have created. Always make sure you remember this pyramid thing, like how you place it. First, place it, scatter your foliage environment, don't brush it. Uh, this is like the backdrop creation is a, as you can see, it's like a quite large piece of environment, but background environment. It will take time. Place your landscape quite nicely. Look whether the um, depth looks nice or not, whether it's blending or not, whether it feels real or not. Might be something is wrong. Take your time. You place your terrain quite nicely. Once you are happy, start uh, um, scattering a lot of foliages, or in fact, if you want a completely bedrock kind of thing, scatter your rocks. Once those are done, move to your sky atmosphere, exponential height fog, just like the way I showed you over here. Like almost any tutorial will show you the similar things, so you don't have to worry. Same thing, similar setup will be, you do the same similar setup for your background environment. And at last, make sure to use a fog card. I might, this thing looks quite small thing, but as you can see, it looks Like it makes a lot of difference uh, with the help of this fog card. If I turn off the original scene also, you will see a lot of difference. Like this will completely enhance your scene. You will love it once you use the fog card in your scene quite nicely. You can do much better job than mine. I assure that. So make sure you use fog cards. Just remember this pyramid, and you will be creating really awesome environments for your portfolio. I really wish you all the best. And if you have any questions for regarding this uh, workshop, make sure you contact me. You can DM me on Beyond Extend. I'm always available over there. You can also, if you wish to have a general discussion, you can just directly DM me. I'm always open for those things. Really looking forward what you create. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Netraraj, for taking the time to share this amazing workshop with us. Head on down to the description to check out their amazing work. We also want to express our massive appreciation for all of our Patreon supporters, which you can see on your screen right now. These workshops and our community as a whole are only possible because of their support. If you want to become one of them, then head on over to beyondextend.com, where you can find access to our community, environment art resources, and get access to the live Q&A sessions of these workshops. Stay creative, and I'll see you there.